Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Wow, folks, what a week for Star Wars Destiny. Earlier this week, we got the data back on the ARH-legal reprint survey. Hours after that, we got information on what's actually going to be a part of reprint set number 1, followed very quickly by information on the rotation schedule for the game. And in a few weeks, September 1st of this year, the Star Wars Destiny environment, at least from the standard perspective, is going to look a lot more like what we would associate with an Infinite. It's going to be very interesting to see the next couple months of Destiny, how it hashes out. Very exciting times to see where we go from here. All right, folks, welcome back to the Commando Cast. I hope your week has been well. I know I always say that, but I honestly do. I think for most of us that are active on Discords or Facebooks or whatever your chat method is of choice, I think a lot of us have been talking with each other more often than we normally do, which is great. There's been plenty of conversation, plenty of debate, and I love how even when we disagree on things, like, we can still have, for the most part, pretty manageable conversations. So, like I said earlier this week, the data came back. Right, the survey closed on Sunday, and I think we had the data Sunday night. I think, maybe even Sunday afternoon. Anyway, it was because I spent Sunday night kind of rolling up the data, and then I got out my video, kind of analyzing the data, and it went up at 4 a.m. on Tuesday morning. And Agent of Zion posted he actually beat me out. Right, so. My video was basically irrelevant dead on arrival, because basically I was running through the survey results and be like, well, I think maybe this. And I mean, where I want to start, we see the ARH page here, but where I want to start is definitely going through the, I just moved the window, idiot. All right, there we go. Now we're good. Where I want to start is going through the reprint. So, yeah, I mean, you can go look at my video. I was wrong about a lot of stuff. I mean, let's just be blunt. I was wrong about a lot of stuff in terms of where I thought they were going to go. So you can go read that and take it where you leave it. And I mean, I think the overall takeaway from the survey was that players at large, or at least the players participating in the survey, want more of an Infinite-esque format. And the ARH guys, basically, with when we go through this, there's going to be some. I mean, there are pretty minor edits overall. So, and of course, it's not loading while we're recording. Of course, it's not loading. There we go. All right, so the votes are in. So this article, we're just going through this. It's by Agent of Zion, the notorious AOZ himself. So basically, what he says is they went through and they're using the results with some minor sanity checking. So what does sanity checking mean anyway? Basically, it means faction and color balancing and some other stuff, right? So let's go through the results. So again, these cards are going to go legal on September 1st, which I think actually is addressed in the second article. But I mean, you know that going in, right? These are going to become legal September 1st for ARH standard. So the new battlefields, or the added battlefields that we're going to see, are Bendu's Lair, which was the top vote, the Throne Room, Obi-Wan's Hut, Blue Hero Love, Weapons Factory Alpha, Outer Rim Outpost. Theed was in the top 7 and was bumped, so they're going with Calm Tower, which was the next one down. So that is, Carbon Freezing Chamber is the one that they're bringing in, not Calm. So that was the top 7, and then they're bringing in Carbon Freezing Chamber on top of that. Not putting in Theed, I think, is the right answer. I was surprised to see that one in there. The one that I'm surprised that ARH has let through is Weapons Factory Alpha. I think that was surprising. One of my personal fears on that was that it's going to lead to a wide support type meta, and I think it will. I know there's a lot of people who are going to be excited about that, so we'll see how it plays out. So that'll be very interesting to see how that one develops. Plots for 3 cards. I'm a little surprised they ended up on 3, but that's what they had people vote for. I mean, they're not messing around. They're basically sticking with stuff. So AR, Double Down, and Solidarity. I think they're all. I mean, remember if you watched my video, the top, it was pretty clear that there was a very top cut on the plots, and then everything tailed off. So I think it makes fine here. Armored reinforcement, he mentions as the obvious concern, but since it's been errata because we saw that in the FFG days that it was errata to be red only, which really solved a lot of the Shadowcaster, Fire Spray reset type stuff. Shadowcaster's not being reprinted, by the way. I should go look at where that voted actually. But Fire Spray is either way, so can't AR it, right? So I think that's been mitigated. So letting it through is fine. So yeah, it's a final list is AR, Double Down, Solidarity. Can be some cool stuff there. I did hear some concerns raised on Double Down just from a tactical point of view. That a lot of people, if you obviously all the ARH cards are print and play, but some people did buy them, and most of the buy prepped kits for them or whatever, and most of those kits come with 2 cards of everything. So having Double Down out there does throw a wrench into that, but again, it's not like you have to play Double Down, right? I mean, it's an option. So I don't think, and with so much play being online anyway, from a fundamental standpoint, I don't think it's a big deal. But I understand the concern is what I'm saying. I acknowledge the concern. I understand where it's coming from. Characters, but I don't think it should have held the card out. So I'm just acknowledging. That's all I said. All right, so characters, 15 of them. Ayla, Yoda, Talzin, Iden, ATG Vader, Vader TTB, as I call him here, Master Luke, Tarkin, Snoke is in. Captain Phasma 2-player game. That's going to be big. Another one's going to be big is Rex, because remember Rex was points balance. Rex is 10-13. Greedo. So Vader Greedo is, you can just straight up go Vader Greedo. Battle Droid, DJ, and Dr. Aphra were all nixed, right? That's why they have the line through them. So they're going to bring in Cassian, Zeb, and Legacy's Obi-Wan. Which is, remember, that's the big 3 Obi-Wan that has stuff. Cool. We'll see what he can do. My guess would be that what will be interesting on these characters is to see where they bring them in at, because that was kind of another one of the concerns that I talked about multiple times is I didn't really see huge value in reprinting characters if they were going to bring that character in and balance them. I think that some of these guys will come in fine, like Iden doesn't need touched, Ayla doesn't need touched, but there's an argument to be made that Mother Talzin could come in at 8-11, and I don't know. So we will see. Likely they'll just roll them in. But will rolling them in make them more likely to be balanced in the future? I don't know. So we're going to have to see where they decide to go with that. I do think that there's some pretty major implications here. Now, let's talk about what was left out. Aphra was an obvious couldn't do, right? They already have an Aphra anyway, but they just couldn't have done Aphra. And I apologize for my camera flashing. It's just sunset. It just is what it is, folks. I'm sorry. Battle Droid is also I don't know if Battle Droid's as obvious, but I understand why they nixed it. It's because Battle Droid served, he's just his point value bringing a die to the table. Granted, Theed's gone and stuff, but Battle Droid just facilitated. Kind of like what Hoth Trooper does sometimes in the Hero Rainbow. It's just gives you cheap access to a color, and Battle Droid did it well and could do damage and had health. I get it. And then DJ, this was one that there was only really one individual who I saw kind of belly aching about this, and I don't know who that individual is. And I understand the feedback that it was voted on and then you killed it. But the thing is, if you look at how much we already had a heavy control with Power of the Tribe and Headstrong and all this other stuff. There's a ton of removal out there, and then if you go when we get down to the events, there's a ton more removal. And I think they're keeping DJ out just based on his NPE possibility. That said, there's a lot of other stuff there. So I do think it's reasonable to question the DJ thing. I think it's fine to have DJ out because like I think we're just gonna run into a bunch of like grindy rainbow removal stuff. But I understand just based on right. If he had been killed and a whole bunch of other stuff had be a different argument. I lean more on the side of I think DJ was the right thing to do. But there's a lot of stuff on here that I didn't think was right to do too. So I'm saying is I understand that argument as well. Zeb's going to be very interesting to come in. Remember, Zeb's 14, right? So, yeah, I mean those 14-point characters are very attractive with like a stay ahead type stuff, depending on how you can get them to fit. So. The other thing that they did is this is the one thing that really this one surprised me because they kind of just called an audible. AOZ decided to jump Dryden Voss into the reprint lists, basically because AOZ likes Dryden, right? So, I mean, it's fine. It's just kind of like, it's one of those things where like, well, we're sticking to because that's when I was like, well, why did you kill DJ? It's like, well, we decided to stick to the list on what people voted for. I was like, but then where'd he come from, right? So I get it. I do think that there's going to be a lot of like, am I using the term right? I think there'll be some meme decks out there with Voss. It's kind of a fan favorite thing. But again, he didn't have the vote. So I can understand if you're laughing about it, I get it. Like, if you're laughing about it because you think it's funny, I get it. If you're not happy with that, I get that too. Supports. So the supports are pretty solid from where the votes were. I mean, it was pretty... shocker, the people voting for supports wanted support bait stacks, right? But there's some pretty scary prospects on here altogether. And Bine's All Things speaks for itself. I can't imagine this game without that. But Senate Chamber... Hailfire Droid Tank. The Hailfire Droid Tank with new Afra is really interesting. We'll see. We'll have to see. But like the VPD and the mouse droids being 0. I don't know. That's really interesting with new Afra. Deja Vu. I think Deja Vu is going to be interesting. Said interesting like a million times today, right? But Deja Vu is going to be really fascinating to see where it falls because there's a couple of cards out of high stakes. What's this? Is it Stolen Intel? No, that's the plot. I don't know. Whatever the one that lets you mill 2 cards and then you put a card from a discard pile. It doesn't have to be the pile you milled from on top of a deck. So it's like hurt your opponent and bring back one of your good cards. And like, yeah, okay, never mind. Because I think you remove that from the game so that you can't cycle it. So never mind. But either way. So that was the wrong example. Hey, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of events now, especially because we're basically opening up to an Infinite-esque format. Deja Vu is scary. Let's just call that in a day. Backup muscle is really fun. You're going to be able to use that to punch through. I think backup muscles, based on some of the other stuff we've seen, I think backup muscle is actually very valuable now. Because you're going to be able to push damage under and maybe actually end some games that way. R2D2 Legacies and Dex's Diner, right? So we're seeing, especially in supports, we're seeing a lot of setup for a control heavy meta. Sanity. So there was a comment on Vader's Fist. If anyone ever kept a short list of specific cards that caused the most hate and discontent among the entire player base, the Fist would be near the top. This bad boy needs to sit out a while longer. Fire sprays in there, so yeah, that's so they nixed the Solar Sailor 2. I thought Fist was on there. Oh, it is on there, but so he didn't cross it out. Yeah, so your final list is Binds, 000, Bubbles, Shield, Senate Chamber, Tech Team, the Legacy's Falcon, which there's going to be some fun there. Crate Speeder, just that card's amazing. BT, 000, and BT, even with new Afra, it's not horrible, right? Maybe. So you could bring him on Hero side too, for whatever that's worth. Dex's BB-8 from Across Galaxies, which is also really going to be really good for hero vehicle decks, and Fire Spray 31. Upgrades. They didn't do much here, actually. The ones that I thought probably shouldn't come in are in. but they're fan favorite ones. So, like they said, let's just take off the gloves and see what happens. So Dagger, Shoto, Ancient, Heirloom. Heirloom, not as much, but there's no shortage of blue sticks. There's no shortage of blue sticks out there right now. I mean, we've got Killian, and Anakins, and yeah, man, Crossguard's back. Other ones that are going to have big impact, Darth Vader's lightsaber is really, Vader TDB's coming back. Basically, that whole deck is back. Now, whether it's good in today's meta or not, I don't know. But, if you just have your old Vader TDB deck made from ATG, you can roll into your local and play, right, if that's a thing. Handheld cannon is probably going into my Kara Benthic deck, I would assume, right? Force Jump coming back that's a really scary prospect because I think we're already going to, based on what we're seeing here, and that always happens when you move into a large, I shouldn't say infinite style format because it's not everything, but it's basically everything good, right? So as we move into this near infinite, that's what we'll call it, the near infinite age of Destiny, bring back Force Jump for control mill is scary. But Holdout Blaster's back, so we'll take that as a win. Maul's Lightsaber's back, which is really great. Crossguard coming back. Luke's Rod. The ones they killed were Ezra's and Chance Cube. Yeah, with Reap and just the way money is these days, we don't need more of that. And then Rey's Lightsaber, there's enough blue redeploys, so it's fine. And you have Anakin's, and they're basically the same anyway, so that's fine. And then Force Illusion, I think, was the right thing to do. So the final list, so they added Darksaber, the 4-cost Darksaber, mind you, not the new Darksaber for my stakes. Mandalorian Van Braces, Maz's Goggles, and Cunning. Maz's Goggles is a really scary prospect in an infinite type format. But we haven't seen it do anything even in an actual infinite. It hasn't really been a thing. So let's see where it goes. Events. I'm not going to go through the full list of events. We'll just go to the final list and kind of just go top down. There's a lot of really strong removal. I think that's an understatement. And I'm not Pacify was number one. Pacify, Beguile, Motive, and Tangle. Bait and Switch coming back is interesting. Bait and Switch actually is interesting, right? Because I voted for Bait and Switch, and I know there's a lot of people that think that's a really dumb idea, and fair enough. But since we're seeing a lot of bigger resource sides, Bait and Switch, I think on your like a Bala, right? Are you gonna resource into a 3? Sure. Or are you gonna Bait and Switch into a 3? Sure, but it's gonna cost you literally. So I don't know. Because the best thing to do it is, I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. I'm not as worried about Bait and Switch as I am some of the other stuff. Friends in Low is really interesting. Best Defense, of course, Overconfidence. That was going to get reprinted in Wild Horizons anyway. Field Medic, Hasty. So do note that you can now play Hasty and No Survivors together again. So Pyre Yellow likes that a lot for the back and forth toss. Crash Landing's back, which is great. Easy Pickings, I was surprised. I thought people hated Easy Pickings, so I'm surprised on that one, but it's back, baby. And then we have Duggan. This is another one, sorry. Riposte is really scary. All in, could go either way on that. Riposte is scary. And then Witch Magic's on there, which makes perfect sense with people who voted for Talisman. It makes sense they would have voted for that as well. Dug In, Pinned Down, and then Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth, remember, is that one that everybody always forgets that you had to have the battlefield for. So that is it for that. So let's just go real quick and look at timelines, and then, that's pretty much it for today then, right? And I've kind of already said my piece, and I think it's starting, hopefully it's starting to kind of back it up as we go through it, that as we the term Destiny's Greatest Hits has been tossed around a lot this week. Specifically, that's because what they basically started with the survey, and that just kind of carried through. But I mean, I think it holds. But all right, so going into, let's just cut through it. So reprint list is legal on the 1st of September. So it's 100 cards, which we just went through. So those will go legal then. Then we're looking at ARH-4 in late November. And then we'll have in February of 2022, we'll have a reprint list update, probably to fit in with any, issues they're seeing with ARH-4 or in play testing for ARH-5. ARH-5 will be in April. And then basically a year from now, we'll get back to ARH-6 after another update. So there's your full timeline. But yeah, so that means that, September 1st, September, October, and then half of November. So we'll have roughly 10 weeks with the current state of things plus the reprint list, which is a long time. That should be plenty of time, I would think. Because people are basically going to start playing, testing with it, developing it now. So that's roughly 3 months. Is it exactly 3 months? It is exactly 3 months. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. It's 3 months till, yeah, that's interesting. From today, if assuming people start today. So, I think this is, it's like I said, it's been a long week. There's a lot of been opinions and back and forth. And, when we first saw it, we're like, whoa, they just kind of, dropped the grenade and let it go. But, if it's what the community wants, give it to them and then we'll fix it later, right? The thing is to really back up the guys over at ARH. The concept, like they would basically, like, I don't know how they would have, I kind of like doing it. Like, that's the conclusion I've come to, is I kind of like the way that they did it. Just because, like, the sheer manpower and stuff that would have been involved in trying to test all this out and, like, try to, like, test different versions of the list with their new sets and all this stuff would have been just impossible, right? It just would have been impossible. And let the community blow it up, and then the community can share responsibility for it. The drawback here is going to be to see what happens in the meantime. We could very well, and probably could, at least in theory, get a bunch of people coming back because, wow, look, it's the old Destiny I used to play. It's like infinite format. Nobody plays infinite format, but, it's the same type of thing. It's like, man, we could, it's just my old Destiny cards. I can use all my old cards. This is great. Like, people could, in theory, come back, as long as they stay, that's great, because there's a chance that with the way things are going that we could. There's a chance that with the way the new pool, like I said, we're moving from a very restricted, tight, controlled environment to a very not everything I just said. So it's conceivable that some people would be attracted to that and others would not. So we'll have to see where the push-pull goes and where people's loyalty and love and stuff lies. So that's the advantage and the risk of doing this. But I understand why there's just no way. And when they very clearly when they decided that they were going to go with the community feedback, like they went all in, right? And cheers. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We'll track it. We're going to keep playing, and we'll see where things end up. Yeah. So anyway, let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're happy, I'm happy. I'm happy that. That's not entirely true, but I just if I'm happy if the community is happy. And I know there's concerns out there, but there's always gonna there's always gonna be feedback in every direction. And as long as the overall thing is that the people who are here stay here and we move forward together, then so be it, right? So anyway, thanks everybody for. I didn't do anything for me, I'm saying, but I appreciate that people went out and participated in the survey and have participated in conversations about this. It's a real community, and I'm not trying to be sappy here. I just I appreciate that people got involved. Like, people could have just sat back and got something, and people went out and put the time in and they got involved, and for the most part your results were heard, right? I'm sure not in individual results, but anyway, so I'm just rambling at this point, but happy Friday. Have a great weekend, folks. Go Commando.